Well, hello, football fans, and welcome to the college football edition of Proline, direct from Las Vegas. I'm John Cranton, joined by Vegas experts Sean Hess and Jeff Sod. It's week 5 of the college season. Going to get into 3 games this weekend. First, we're going to start out with a football quote from the weekend games. It'll be wide receiver Brandon Marshall of the Jets, who said, "I played like crap today, to be honest with you." Guys, was he being too hard on himself?
But you notice he didn't give any of the money back. You know, it's like these politicians say, "Well, I accept responsibility." You do? Well, fine, give us the money back. You know, that's what's good.
Or resign. Another thing that happened this weekend was we've been talking about the big chalk that just doesn't get there. Sean, there's been some more examples of that too. What is going on?
You take a look at the top, 5, 6, 7 teams, and just like Ohio State, we talked about this, Wisconsin, some of these teams, just bet them every game. You're going to be losing. You're going to be in the toilet. I said it before last week, and it's certainly obvious. I don't know who the number 1 team is. I mean, we know who's ranked number 1, but how many of these teams are actually playing? In fact, I'm going to give you one team that should be ranked after what they did last week, and Jeff probably saw the game. How about UNLV, minus a 14.5-point favorite? We're talking blowout city, 80-8. When I first saw the score, it was like 66-0 or something, and I thought that my phone thing wasn't working, but it turned out to be the score, and they win the game. I wonder why Idaho State went for 2. Yeah. I'd be embarrassed if I hadn't made it. And what's that coach's name, Mike? Is it Kramer, the Idaho State coach?
Yeah, said he wasn't happy.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't happy coming down there and getting spanked like that. But they get what, like $200,000 for for playing that game? It's all for the college program, but.
Yeah, when I saw that score, I thought the UNLV basketball team had started
early.
early.
Yeah, it started early. I mean,
great
it was
defensive game, too.
What a jeez, yeah.
Sounding that they
break up UNLV, put them in the top 10. Why not?
The Rebels have a win and a cover. We don't see those.
We don't see.
Well, the other game that was pretty shocking to me was Utah at Oregon.
Woo!
Yes.
How do you explain Utah going to Oregon and putting? You know, some teams they're going to score 62 points, but you think it's going to be the Ducks, not Utah. Yeah. There's just no way to explain that.
And it was from the beginning. I mean, it was wire to wire.
It was a total wipeout.
Does it make Mariota's stock look a little better? Maybe, I don't know.
Glad he's not there.
That didn't happen when he was there.
Well, it doesn't make the coach of Oregon look good, too, and he's been under the heat ever since Chip Kelly left.
My God.
For some of those games.
Yeah, just.
All right, let's get into a couple of games. 3 games going this weekend. First, have to mention that Jim Feist off a 2-0 weekend with these platinum high roller plays. Mississippi State on Saturday, the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday. He's also 3-1, 75% with games of the year in football. That includes Sunday's blowout game of the year with the Seattle Seahawks. Here's the deal. He already has his non-conference game of the year up on Sunday in the NFL, an early release. $99 online if you want to get it for just $19 with a bonus high roller. Just call 1-855-846-7426. That is over $270 value. And Jeff, you had the one of your high roller plays was the Buffalo Bills on Sunday.
It was easy.
Congratulations, you're on a sizzling run with those as well.
Well, you did good.
Yeah, I have had 2 NFL blockbusters this year. They've both been easy winners. It was the Steelers over the Niners, and then the Bills over the Dolphins. And I'm right now in all sports on a blockbusters. I'm on a 29-12 run. I'm going to give you 7 days of college and NFL action for just $19. Just call the number on your screen. But you want to get on board LVSS. I had a 4-1 week in the NFL, topped off by a big win with the Broncos on Sunday night. So don't miss out. Call the number on your screen.
All right, we have a Big Ten showdown. On a Saturday, you got Iowa playing at Wisconsin. This is going to be a fun game. Head-to-head, Iowa's 8-3 against the spread, including 4-0 ATS at Wisconsin. Badgers are home. They opened up 8.5. Bet down on the early money to 6.5. About 66% of the bets coming in on the Hawkeyes. The total has dropped too from 47.5 to 46. This is an Iowa team that's 4-0. They really haven't been tested that much. They struggled a bit last year on offense with a 7-6 record, but the defense was terrific. They were top 10 in the nation in points allowed. This season, the defense looks even better. Both lines, offensive and defensive lines, are very talented and getting the job done, but they really haven't been tested yet, Sean. So, what do you expect from this Hawkeye team?
Well, Wisconsin, one of these teams doesn't impress me as far as point spread stuff going. They're not real terrible. Iowa, first of all, let's start with the top of this. Iowa comes in at 4-0 straight up. They're 3-1 against the number. Average line in their games, by the way, that's when you take all the point spreads and divide by 4, is almost 11 points a game, being favored by 10, by 3, by 4.5, and 26. Now they step way up in class. They opened up at +8. Now they're +6.5. Crossed that serious 7 number. As a road dog. They're coming off 62-16 shellacking of North Texas as a home favorite at 26. They play Illinois next at home. That's next week. Now, here's Wisconsin at 3-1. They lost to Bama week 1. Looked really bad doing it 35-17. They were a dog. This is this game that every year some college team has to play up on that neutral site in Dallas at Jerry Jones Stadium, and that's where that Bama Wisconsin game was played. But they were pretty much steamrolled. But in this pretty game, now we're talking about getting into conference play here this time of year. The money's going on the dog. Like I said, Iowa's now down to 6.5. It opened to 8. I was surprised it came that high. Conference game for both teams. We're talking, this is their first in the Western Division. Iowa 3-1. Their last 4 is a road dog, and that's against the number. It's a lean for me, Jeff. Iowa is 4-0, I think, against the number the last 4 times they've gone to Wisconsin. But it's not a strong play for me, and the money is going that way. I don't like to give up. When 8's out there, you hate to settle for 6.5, especially when it crosses 7. But if a gun to my head, I'd probably take Iowa and just hope that they stay inside the number.
Yeah, probably about the same way with Wisconsin. A slight lean on Wisconsin, mainly because of that home field. They're 25-12 against the spread at home. Hawkeyes 4-0. They're averaging 38 points per game. That's a big improvement. Last 3 years, they've only averaged 24 points a game. Of course, they had that 62-16 win over North Texas. Iowa's converting 52% of their third down tries, and Wisconsin's defense has allowed opponents only 32% on third down. Iowa quarterback C.J. Beathard is completing 68% of his passes, 6 TDs. Wisconsin racked up 326 yards and 54 carries in that 28-0 win over Hawaii. Taiwan Deal took over for the injured Corey Clement, ran for 147 yards. The Badgers used what they called an inverted wishbone. They used 2 fullbacks.
Is that upside down?
Yeah, it's something I'm not that familiar
inverted
with.
wish.
Yeah.
Emery Ballard would love that.
Yeah, these days you hardly see 1 fullback, let alone 2 fullbacks.
That's the fishbone they run.
Fishbone, yeah. Defense has been fantastic for Wisconsin. They haven't hasn't a lot of TD since the game against Alabama. The last 3 games they've won by a combined score of 114-3. Both teams have great running games, and they both have great rushing defenses. The rushing defense is in the top 12 in the country, each team. So last year Wisconsin won at Iowa 26-24. It's an 8-point favorite. Obviously, a game we're not going to play, but I would take a slight lean toward Wisconsin because of that great home field advantage, and the defense is just playing terrific.
I think they came back late to do it, too, right? That 26-24 thing. Yeah, and that line actually was 10 at one time, came down to 8. So
that's right, yeah, and the yardage was about the same in that game, 412 to 405 in favor of Iowa. They were down but came back as an 8-point dog. Sean, what was the opening line that you made for this game? Because you thought 8.5 was kind of high.
Yeah, I thought it would sit at 7. Give them a touchdown on that, but I didn't think it would be any higher than that. Well, it came 8, but it came right away down to 7, sat around, and now it was this morning 6.5. In fact, I saw a total posted on the game around 46.5 sound right, so they're not looking for a whole lot of scoring here.
Yeah, both these teams have terrific defenses, and I can understand that this Wisconsin team is home, and they're just an incredible team at home, 70-8 straight up over the last 11 years, covering at a nice rate. They're also on a 25-12-1 run against the spread at home, but you have to look at that one game where they stepped up to play Bama, and boy, did they get steamrolled, particularly in the second half. And so I do have some question marks about how much.
Well, it was a neutral site. It was in Dallas. But still, you're right. They look really bad again. And look what Bama did, against Mississippi as a 9-point home favorite. They lose straight up. So
yeah. So I'm going to take, Sean, this may surprise you, but I'm going to take a look at the total.
Nothing surprises me at this stage of my life. I just thought I'd tell you.
Well, as for the total, you got 2 great defenses here. Offenses that like to run the football at times, so they're not going to be pass-happy teams. And then you look at this Iowa defense, which keeps them in these road games. Look at their run on the road, 38-13-3 under the total. Away from home, the Hawkeyes are. When they face a team with a winning record on the road, they're 27-13-2 under the total. No doubt Kirk Ferentz is going to go to this very good ground game to control the ball and the clock. And then you got a Wisconsin team that when they stepped up to play Bama, the offense scored 17 points. Meanwhile, the defense has been pretty sharp, shutting down Troy and Hawaii, a total of 3 points in those 2 games. So I agree with the line movement on the total here. I'm looking at maybe a 23-20 game, which would be under the total. All right, we got games coming up here from the SEC. Before we get to that, if you want to get free plays daily from Jim Feist on a recorded message or sent via your text, you can go right to jimwins.com, or you can just call his free pick phone, 1-855-737-5367.